Welcome everyone to House of Games, the podcast about video games in general and game development in particular. I'm Otto, and with me I have my co-host
Rune Storm. Hello.
And also our guest
Stefan Eriksson, the community manager at Game Hub Umeå. Hello.
Yeah, something I would like to know starting off. Game Hub, what is it?
Oh, asking the difficult questions right away. Game Hub is a community for indie game developers here in Umeå. It's an initiative originally by Umeå Innovation and Expression and Umeå Kommun together. Umeå has since dropped off, and it's run by Expression and Umeå Kommun right now.
So what is like the expressed purpose of it?
The express purpose of Game Hub Umeå is to provide a community for all of the potential game developers and indie game developers to meet each other, to collaborate, to be inspired by each other, and also to make contacts with established studios in the industry, of course.
Cool, interesting. So tell us more about your part in it.
Well, my part in it started not that long ago, actually. I was approached by Expression and Umeå Kommun to ask if I wanted to take over the role as community manager. And I said, yes, why not? I've always been interested in games and game development, and I recently got off. Actually, I'm still doing taking part in an education to become a project manager in game development. So it seemed like a natural fit. I enjoy meeting people, I enjoy talking to people, and I enjoy organizing things. So that makes a community manager, I guess.
So this educational thing, is that like a university?
It's a vocational school. It's Future Games in Skellefteå. It's nice. I've, let's see how to phrase this. I feel like the thing that I brought from the education into this is a lot of industry contacts, to be honest. And it's really, really nice because game development is such a collaborative community across studios, across individual developers. Everyone wants to share what they're doing, the things that they have been part of and the things that they are working on. So it's so nice to be part of this community at last.
Yes, you're most welcome.
Thank you.
So were you part of Game Hub before becoming community manager, or?
I was, but not for that long, actually. A couple of months. The former community manager, Matilda, good friend of mine, actually, she invited me to take part to participate, of course, but also for the last Game Jam, which was hosted remotely. So I did not take part in that Game Jam, but I was there as a witness, I guess. I looked at all the games and the presentations, and I thought, I really want to get involved in this. And as it happened, that opportunity stumbled over me, so to speak.
Cool. So as a member of Game Hub, what can you expect? Why should you join Game Hub? What is it?
I'd say that's a question that depends on what you want from Game Hub. This is sort of a politician's answer, I guess, but Game Hub Umeå is what you make of it. It's supposed to be, like I said that it was run by Expression and Umeå Kommun, but honestly it's run by the community. The community decides what Game Hub should be. And right now, well, that's up in the air for everyone who participates. This podcast is a really good example. This is a completely community-driven initiative to start up this podcast, to produce this podcast, and I am very, very excited to see it become reality. But in practical terms, I think that you can expect a community full of people to talk to and discuss game development. You can expect events to take place like after-work events, game jams, lectures, stuff like that. And you can expect people to bounce ideas off of. I think that's perhaps the most important thing.
Yeah, nice.
I feel like, how should I phrase this? Like a community, we don't need expression to make a community. But it feels like expression is more like a... Well, for example, now we're making this podcast. I wouldn't have done this unless I wasn't touched with expression. But could it also be something like you say it's up to what the community wants it to be. But my point is that we don't need anyone. It's just making a community. Anyone can make it anywhere. So expression must be something more, I feel like. For example, if I want help from expression to motion capture studio. Is that something that could happen, like through expression?
Potentially, yes. It's a difficult question because expression in itself is an incubator. You can apply right now actually to the Express program, the pre-incubation program at Expression, to get help if you have an idea for a game or you want to start your own studio, but you're not sure about the business part of that. An incubator develops businesses. We don't have like a motion capture studio.
So it's kind of like as a small indie dev, it's damn hard to do everything on your own. But now that you said that, I feel like it's sort of like if I need help with something, expression is the perfect place to go to ask. I mean, instead of like sitting there Googling and figuring things out on my own and trying to find, like, for example, a motion capture studio. I'm nowhere near that kind of scope of games, but I could come to Expression and ask, hey, I want to have a motion capture studio because I want to do this for my game. And then you guys would then sort of hook me up with the right people.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say absolutely, yes. We would, if we can't help you with the exact problem you have, we can probably show you to someone who can help you. And you asked me before about Expression's role in creating a community, and I completely agree. The community does not need Expression or me or any one person to be a community. I'd say that my role in this and Expression's role in this is more like a facilitator to make things happen. And the more that the community drives itself, the better, the happier I am. And the better off the community is in the long run. Like this podcast.
I've only been part of Game Hub for, I think maybe 3 years or something. I do appreciate that it's a good place to meet other people, both hobbyists and professionals, that either just like video games or like creating video games. Do you have any background yourself in video games or anything related?
Actually, yes, absolutely. When I was a kid, all I wanted to become was a video game developer, and I was involved in this community that started to mod games. We made a total conversion of the old game Dungeon Siege. And in that community, there was a couple of game developers in established studios like Blizzard and Rockstar. And they warned me off game development. They said, whatever you do, don't get into this industry. But that was a long time ago. And it was over in America. And I realized since that the conditions aren't the same as they were there and then. So the games industry here in Sweden right now today is a very, very different place, and it's a very exciting place. So I started at an education at Future Games in Skellefteå to become a project manager for game development. And that's where I stumbled over this job as a community manager.
When you say education, was that like a school? You were teaching students or evening class or?
Oh, it's a vocational school in Skellefteå, but I took it remotely because of the pandemic. Basically, I am a student. I'm still a student at Future Games, trying to become a project manager, the wonderful world of agile project management.
You spoke about words of warning from colleagues in the US. So what specifically were they warning about?
It was almost entirely a matter of crunch. They said that they had to make sacrifices in their personal lives each and every day. With some of them had started thinking about families and stuff, and they felt like there is no way we cannot raise a family in this climate. And I wasn't looking to start a family or anything like that, but I really felt like if this is what I want to do with the rest of my life, I need to make it sustainable.
For how long time ago was this?
I'd say this was about 20 years ago.
Because even today, quite recently, the past 2-3 years, there's been a lot of discussions about crunch and stuff like that in the industry. And more and more companies come out and talk about unions or better work conditions and so on. So I guess things are getting better. But how do you think we can fix it?
Oh,
And also, like, what consequences does that have? Because, I mean, on one hand, gamers in particular, they're quite spoiled and they want stuff and they want them now. But not having crunch and all that extreme work means that game developments will take longer and become more expensive. Do you think that, how do you think that can be fixed?
Well, there's a bunch of questions in that question. But I think, first of all, I think that spoiled gamers, we shouldn't pay attention to them, honestly. There is a sense of entitlement in gaming, and I can completely understand that. People want to play games. People are excited about games. But game development needs to be able to take the time it needs to get ready. That's all there is to it. But I wouldn't blame this. Absolutely, I wouldn't blame the crunch situation on gamers. I would blame it on companies with large, huge marketing departments who desperately want to build hype for their games, and they nail down a certain release date, and this needs to be out by Christmas or by the holiday season, or people won't buy it, stuff like that. I think that is the single most damaging thing when it comes to crunch. So I think the solution, the question you're asking, I don't have a perfect solution, but I think we need to let teams make their games without interference from external sources. And I would say that the marketing department and stuff like that is an external source, same as with entitled gamers.
And also maybe the investors and all that, I hear from podcasts, can be a problem when they are expecting results and they want their money back and plus some.
Absolutely. And investors, I think, are generally good for the industry. People need money to make their games, but they often come, not always, they often come with demands that can seem quite detached from the reality of making games.
That's good. And to bring this back to Umeå Game Hub, do you think to prevent, you talked a little bit about Umeå Game Hub, what it's about, and it's like a community and it's like a way to link everyone who makes games, and that doesn't just mean the programmers or the game designers, it's also musicians and animators, all of it. Do you think Umeå Game Hub can help crunch, like for small studios and stuff like that, in, for example, here in Sweden?
I would say yes. I think that our problem with crunch is smaller here in Umeå and in Sweden in general than it is for much of the rest of the world, but we still have a problem with it. And I think that collaboration, especially when it comes to smaller studios and one-man studios and stuff like that, that is also a very important key to reducing crunch, to be able to work on things closely with people who are geographically close to you can absolutely relieve crunch, especially if you do most of the things yourself, if you're used to doing most of the things yourself. So yeah, the answer would be yes. We have a very, very talented community of all kinds of game developers, and I think that whether you need a programmer or an artist or a musician or a motion animator or a marketer, there is someone who can help you in our community.
Interesting. My co-host, you are a solo game developer. What is the experience for you? Because you're your own boss. How do you experience crunch? Do you do it or?
Yeah, now I'm about to release a game, so it's crunch, but you know, I'm also a bit of a workaholic, and I'm quite passionate about the stuff I do, so I don't really feel like it's crunch. But for example, now that we're about to release our next game, or my publisher is helping releasing it, obviously, they can be like we sent it to Nintendo recently. So if they send it back to me saying, well, there's a bunch of bugs you need to fix, those times I can feel a bit stressed. But there is never a deadline, because we don't give any release date until the game is done. So when the game is sort of greenlit by Nintendo and the Nintendo eShop is ready, that's when we do the release date. But then that's when we give the release date and all that. And at that point, you know, the game, I can't go back and touch the game. It's just on some Nintendo server somewhere. So I can't even go back and touch it. So I don't experience the crunch in the same way. But then, of course, I do set up my own sort of deadlines and all that stuff, because otherwise I feel like if there are no deadlines or anything, it will never get done, because yeah, that's that old saying that art is never done because it's never done, or especially games, they're never done. You can keep on working on one game for the rest of your life. So I do set up my own deadlines, and I stick to them. If I feel like I need some extra days, I would, for example, tell my wife that I need to work tonight, so we can't have a movie night as we planned because I need to get this done. Because as soon as you stop missing your deadlines that you set up yourself, I feel like it becomes not as serious anymore, and then you just let it slide more and more, and then eventually it just turns into nothing. I don't know if that's the case, like how others experience it, but at least I set up my own deadlines and I stick to them. And that can be crunchy, but I don't really feel the stress from it.
A big part of, I think it's very, very interesting that you mentioned passion, because I think that is a blessing and a curse for many, many game developers around the world. And a big part of something where I work, and I am employed by Expression, is sustainability. And sustainability can come in so many forms, whether it's economic sustainability, ecological sustainability, or the work environment, working sustainably. And it's so easy when you're passionate about something to get really bogged down in it. It's something you love, right? So you want to do it all the time. And if that's work, if you work all the time, that leaves nothing for the rest of you. So I think that even while you're passionate about something, I think it's really, really good to separate work from your free time and keep work sustainable.
What would you say is like the general state of the Swedish game industry? Are we crunching, or do we have like a good balance?
We are crunching. We absolutely are crunching. Companies will deny that we are crunching, but it still happens. And it happens too often. But I will say I think it's moving in the right direction. And I think it has been moving in the right direction for quite some time. So that's at least something.
Wasn't the new Harry Potter game recently delayed? That's developed in Sweden, isn't it?
It is.
Oh, I think so.
I did not know
and I think
that.
it was delayed as well. And
yes, I do remember it being delayed.
Well, overall delays are good for the players and of course the developers that we're talking about right now. But players should be happy that a game is delayed, because it should signify that this is a better quality game and it's better for the people who are actually working on it. So I can understand wanting to play the game you've been looking forward to for 2 years right now. But if I need to wait for another 2 months, I think that's okay.
When your games are ready for releasing on Nintendo, for example, you mentioned that you set the release date after everything is done with Nintendo. So how long of a period for like marketing and stuff do you set for releasing it?
Like a month. We used to do a month. But I mean, my publisher is tiny, and I just don't like to be online. So I try my best to promote as much as I can. But actually, this is when I should go to Expression and ask for help. Like, how do you promote? I need marketing tools, or I don't even know where to begin. I have a Twitter account, that's it, and this what is called Reddit. But I'm just, the second I log on to those sites, I just want to faint. I just hate it. But that's when I need something like Expression, I guess.
In terms of Expression provides incubation, pre-incubation, business incubation, and just business coaching. And marketing is a big part of running a business. I would say to anyone who has problems with these sorts of things and you're not sure where to go, how do I promote something? How do I create a business plan? How do I run my dream studio as a business? Apply to one of Expression's programs, or you go to me and you say, hello, I have a game studio. I need help. I'm about to release a game, but no one knows about my game. Come to me and we'll find a way to promote it. Absolutely.
Then I will try that for sure.
I think you should.
Do you have any idea how it would look like? Like if we role played and I walked in like, yo, this is Knife Boy, it's ready in a month.
Okay, we're role playing. Here we go. Well, you have a good game there, I think. What's it about?
It's about this guy with a knife growing out of his head, and he's running around and killing bosses, figuring out who took his girlfriend. He's back from the dead. It's quite wacky.
It sounds quite wacky, but it also sounds very interesting. Do you have have you been promoting it?
No, just on Twitter.
Okay, on Twitter, yeah. Do you have a lot of followers? Do people know about this?
I have some followers, but I think most are follow for follow, so it's not really real followers.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you do need some help. Let's see. Send some materials to us, and we can see about maybe sending it to our individual communities. I hear that Game Hub Umeå is a really good community to get materials sent to. We'll maybe look into to see if we can help with getting it out there on our different platforms as well. So it sounds like you have an excellent game that everyone should buy.
Totally.
And also join the Game Hub Umeå Discord. I think that's a really good first start for any studio.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Thanks.
No problem. See you later.
We spoke a little bit earlier for the podcast about a certain local event for promoting games. Could you tell us more about that?
Well, absolutely. It's not really an event about promoting games, but I think it's a good way to get your game out there anyway. Expression is hosting an open house on the 5th of October. Basically, we want to open our doors and show what's going on at Expression. And it won't be just about games, but Game Hub Umeå will for sure have a showing there. And we're looking at maybe collecting some materials from our members to some promotional trailers and stuff like that to show off at a pretty cool venue, I would say. So if anyone who's listening to this has some trailer or something they want to show off, please contact me and I will make sure we get to display it.
You talked also about this before we started recording a little bit, maybe like a 20-second-ish gameplay trailer. Yeah. Will you edit this, or how would it? If I send you 20 seconds, what happens? What's the process like behind the scenes?
We'll see. Most likely it'll be me. I'll try to edit something together, and I'm envisioning something like compiling trailer material from all kinds of games that people in our community are making to make some sort of a Game Hub Umeå trailer. This is Game Hub Umeå. These are the games we're making. Come look at how awesome we are.
Regarding sound, should they bother about that at all, or will there be some kind of soundtrack on top of everything else?
Again, I'm envisioning this, and I think that I would like to have a soundtrack on top of this, but I absolutely sound. And don't stop at 20 seconds. Give me 2 minutes worth of material, and I can put something together, or we'll put something together. I think it'll be cool.
Do you have a particular song in mind already?
Do you have a suggestion for a song?
No, I don't.
We'll find something cool. Absolutely.
And where can they find you to apply for like showing their trailer?
I'm always available on our Discord server, of course, but all my contact information is at gamehubumea.se.
Very cool.
I just came up with a question now, like you said Expression. So it's not just about games. Game Umeå is one thing under Expression.
Yes, absolutely.
So Expression is like an umbrella name, and then underneath that you have Game Hub Umeå, and what else is there?
A lot of other stuff. And Expression is an incubator, like I mentioned before, an incubator focused on the creative and cultural industries here in Umeå. So basically anyone who has a business idea but isn't quite sure where to go with it, how to make it into real business, or has a business and just isn't sure how to get it to the next level, is welcome to apply to Expression as long as they're working within the creative and cultural industries. It could be something like making clothes or creating music, or we have a motion animator, stuff like that. And then we have business coaches available who can help take your business to the next level. So there's a lot of collaboration going on under Expression.
Yeah, culture feels very
broad.
It is very broad, but it's also very interesting that in all of the creative and cultural industries, game development is the single largest part.
Interesting. So Umeå is quite a good city to build games then, I suppose.
Otherwise, I wouldn't be here.
it will be interesting, I think, for people out of town to hear about what kind of companies that we actually have, since this episode is a little bit about Umeå. So we have Paradox has an office here, I think.
Yeah.
We have Sordix.
Yep.
Who else? Turborilla, I think.
Turborilla. Yep.
I know this small studio, Runic Codes.
Nice. Sounds like a professional team.
Very professional. You should see the office.
But we have others as well. We have Coldwood, of course. We have a lot of smaller studios like the Fine Arc. They're very welcome members of our community as well. We have Blastbit, who are making cool stuff with AI, and many others.
Cool.
Doing things with AI, like AI in games or just in general, like robots and stuff.
AI in games.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Is it like they outsource their AI technology? Like, I know there's a lot of companies buying trees from this.
Speed Tree?
Yeah, is that what it's called?
Yeah, Speed Tree.
What is that?
The Speed Tree is a sort of an engine plugin to make procedural trees very easy.
And there's a company who made that plugin, I guess, and then
Yeah.
you can buy it to your game, and I guess you tweak it a little bit so it doesn't look like everyone else's trees.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But
Yeah.
Blastbit is working on sort of an AI story engine, so to speak.
Oh,
Also,
cool.
like text generation that you can just form into
Or like a
gameplay, I
heavy
suppose.
rain.
Heavy Rain is a completely different beast. Don't get me started on David Cage and his games.
But they have like story, weird trees and branches and stuff.
Yeah, but that's all designed from scratch. This
Okay.
is sort of like a procedural story generation.
Oh,
Yeah. But there are others as well, game related stuff. We have Game Boost, and they're sort of consultants. They hire out people to fill empty roles in studios. We have Rank One, who is probably the largest gaming social media for streamers and influencers. So there are a lot of different companies here in Umeå.
interesting that thing with Game Boost. If I wanted to have a animator, and I would then contact Game Boost,
Yes.
and then they hook me up with someone.
Absolutely. You would give Jenny at Game Boost your game's profile, and they would use their network to say, we need an animator over here.
Cool.
We should have her on for another episode.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Tell about her business.
Say hi to her from me if you bring her in.
Mm-hmm.
Will do. What are you playing at the moment?
Oh, what am I playing? Do I even have time to play at the moment? I've been sort of getting into these sort of Vampire Survivors-esque games. Not Vampire Survivors, but I've been looking at all these, I don't even know what the genre is called anymore. Like survival shooters, stuff like that. 20 minutes to live. Those sorts of games. But I've also been getting back to my true love, RPGs. So I am revisiting Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous. What a good game.
I have not heard of that, actually.
It is amazing.
What is it about?
Oh, it's a very, very rules-heavy RPG in which you become the end boss, more or less.
Interesting.
On what system is that?
It's on PC, but I think it's due to be released on consoles as well. It's the sequel to a very, very successful Kickstarter called Pathfinder Kingmaker.
Cool.
Another question I had about Game Hub. So what would be, you as a community manager, what would be your goal for Game Hub? What you want it to become? What would you like to see it, aspire to?
I think I touched on this a little bit when we talked before, and my dream would be to see a Game Hub that doesn't need a community manager at all. A community that just drives itself. No one needs to be at the wheel. No one needs to facilitate. And it's just a community that loves sharing with each other, a community that inspires each other, and a community that creates events for others to attend. A community that makes games together. That's the best way I can describe it.
I think we're on our way to building it with this podcast and, after work, all of it. So, yeah.
It does feel like a community manager is quite important in the beginning to get stuff done, because it's quite easy to just go in there and say, "Oh, we should do this."
Yeah.
Because we're all good at that, coming up with ideas, but then actually doing something. And I feel like that would be good to have a community manager
Yeah.
for a while who can actually finalize things and make it happen.
Well, thank you. And I would like to add to that if anyone has any ideas for stuff they want to do with the community, whether it's an event or if they want to come and hang out at Expression and talk about Game Hub Umeå or anything, just contact me. That's what I'm here for. That's literally what I'm here for. So get in touch with me on Discord or send me an email or something, and we'll figure something out together.
Oh, one more thing before we wrap this up. I remember in the Discord community it was something about making blogs or vlogs on the website. Can you tell us about that? Is that going to happen, or?
It's probably going to happen. It was also actually a community-driven initiative, but right now I'm the only one with control over the website, so they came to me. It was actually one of the studios. They said that they missed the days of dev blogging, of just sharing stuff. And people do share stuff in our community, but it's on Discord. And once something scrolls off the page on Discord, it's practically gone forever. No one scrolls upwards to look at old stuff. It just doesn't happen. So they lifted the idea of maybe adding a section for dev blogs on our website. And I thought, why not? I'll throw the question out there to see what the interest is like. So it's looking good so far.
Cool. Yeah, that's interesting.
Cool. I mean, that also makes the blogs or vlogs indexable by like search engines instead of just being on a Discord server. So yeah.
And driving people back to the website, giving people a reason to come back, I think is really good.
So there is a way on, for example, medium.com is a blogging website. So on there you could create a publication, it's called. So on there you could just invite users to that publication and then have them submit like blogs to that publication. So that way you could embed a Medium publication, because that will show all of the blogs that are part of that publication. So that would be one way to do it.
Sounds very interesting. It sounds like you know way more about blogs than I do, so I will happily accept your expertise.
Because I think a good way to get things done is doing stuff, like using stuff that people have already built, so you don't have to like reinvent the wheel like all over again.
That's a very good point. Then again, the website is built on WordPress, and WordPress started out as a blog engine, so I'm sure there's some kind of functionality for it in there as well.
Yeah, probably. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah.
I think that wraps it up.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure. This was a lot of fun.
Super.
Yeah, can I come back at some point, maybe?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well,
anytime.
Excellent.
Cool. All right. So this will be the first episode, I suppose.
I guess so, yeah.
So thank you all for listening, and please listen to the next episode as well in a week.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.